Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tribe. We are live in the Tribe in Facebook, Elevate Your Tribe group, and it is Elevate Your Emotions Wednesday. The title of today's podcast is Living by Design: How Emotions Fuel Your Actions. How are your emotions today, Cheryl?
My emotions are fantastic, actually. They really are. Made a couple of small changes in my life
It's all
in the
about
last
tweaks.
in the last little bit, and it has really, really made a difference. And Paul, it all goes back to this. Do you want to live your life by default or design, right? I mean, it all goes back to you get to decide how you want to design your life, which is not ever something that I thought about. Let's just
All
be
right.
honest. I never thought about that. I didn't know that. I thought, you're born where you're born. I was born on a farm. That's where you're at. You don't have really any say in anything. And that's just not true.
Well, especially
And,
when it comes to your emotions. Like, I
right.
think you and the rest of the world were always like, well, emotions, above everything else is absolutely by default.
Yeah, default. And which I think is so funny because one of the hardest things for me to wrap my mind around, it has been for like a long time, like ever since we've been working together and business partners. It has been the hardest thing for me to realize that you get to choose your emotions. You get to choose how you want to feel. Nobody can make you feel a certain way, which I just was like, well, that's absolutely ridiculous. Of course, the slow driver makes me feel a certain way. But or of course my child doing this or that makes me feel a certain way, right? All of those things. Or your here's another good one, ladies, your spouse. Oh yeah, don't tell me that him doing that didn't make me feel angry or frustrated or whatever it was. And it's like, yeah, no, you chose to do that. And I'm like, what? How can that possibly be? I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to feel frustrated. I don't want to feel angry. But that's the very first thing. Ugh, all of a sudden, oh, I'm mad as can be.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you chose to feel that way. That Paul, that has been the absolute hardest thing for me to believe, which I do believe that now. And it's been so hard for me to like continually, and not hard, but just continually work on it. And I have a funny thing that I do now with my kids. Can I tell you about that?
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I decided I wanted to stay in the emotion of love, joy, and peace, right? And let me just say, that's not even easy to get there a lot of times in like your everyday lives. But I managed to get there when I'm by myself meditating. And so I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to go out and drive the kids. So I go out and I told both of my kids, they're 16, twins, and I told them, listen, I want you guys to tell me if you notice that mom gets out of love, joy, and peace. So now it's like an absolute joke. But it's funny because the minute someone says, oh, like my son, oh, mom, I don't know is that eye roll is love, joy, and peace.
Right.
Because I just rolled my eyes at
The
something or
morally
whatever.
roll.
I'm like, oh, and then it makes me laugh. And then I'm like, oh, yeah. And then it's easy to jump back into love, joy, and peace. But it has been amazing, like how many times that's mentioned to me, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the
So,
things I loved is when you would go to Jonathan and say, he'd be upset about something. You're like, hey, just let me know how long that's going to last for. So I know how long to ignore you for, and that would pop him out of it because he's like, okay, I'm not going to, you can't say, 3 days, because I don't want to
right.
be ignored for 3 days.
Right, that's exactly right. And think about that in your own life, right? It's like and it's probably Paul and I've learned this too that it's a pattern. So it's a pattern that you and your spouse or your kids or whatever get into, and then it's like if you don't realize it, if you don't become aware, then it won't change. And so you just continually are in this cycle, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about a cycle you can get into. And the reason why we get into these habits, a cycle, whatever it is, but we want positive cycles and not negative cycles in our lives.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we've both learned, Cheryl, is that emotions can really be in the body. We feel these emotions and in ourselves, and that, a lot of the people I'm sure listening today were saying, well, of course, Cheryl, if your husband did that, of course you're going to be pissed off and upset. That's horrible. Like, what else? It's given. But let's just all calm down for a second and walk through the circle. We're going to explain the circle and why that's happening and how we can maneuver things to have a better life and elevate your life. So when we're looking at this results cycle now, and Cheryl and I were talking about this earlier. So Cheryl, if there's anything you want to add into the story here, please do, because it's super important that we explain this correctly to all of you and that you understand it to a full level, because it can be a little confusing. So in the light blue square or the arrow there that says results, what we're talking about is the current results in your life right now. So we talk about body, how much you weigh, how strong you are, how flexible you are, how good your health is. We have a health score. So my health score is 34, whatever the number is. That's a current result. We call that a story. It's a story of your life. Okay, so there's certain things happening. Now, what we want to do when we talk about the story of your life, and this is how we start our retreats. When Cheryl and I do a retreat with people, we want to know what's going on right now. Now, we want the truth is what we want. We don't want people to make the sky's falling, the world is over, all this story. That's not true. And we don't want to, and then other people, Cheryl, as you know, they're like, everything's fantastic. My life's never been better like this, and we're like, well, tell us about it. And it was like a horror story, so they're kind of overinflating how good things are right now.
Well, and I want to just be clear too, but the story or the results are right now. And I don't think, how far back do we want people to go, or we don't? It's just like right now. It's like in the present moment, what's happening, the results you're getting right now. And it's the story about the results you're getting right now, not, well, I grew up on a farm and it was terrible and I didn't, all of that. So I think that's important to remember too, that it's like right now.
Yep. So there's three stories. There's the past story, the present story, which is what we're talking about, the story happening right now. And then there's the potential story we're going to talk about in a second. Okay. So yes, people do go back to past stories. And Cheryl, we were doing some work together yesterday where we figured out that a past story was causing a current feeling or a current emotion, or current belief. So that could absolutely weigh in. But what we're usually talking about in the results box there is current results, present results.
Okay.
Now, potential results, like what is the potential life you could be living? So God has given us all different talents, different abilities, different purposes in life. And also, not only do we talk about the potential story, but the potential person you could be. Am I living up to my potential? You hear that phrase a lot, and it's such an arbitrary thing, but it's something we want to really think about and write about.
Well, and I think it's so awesome. The thing I like about, so the results are, that's your story of right now and everything you've done to get yourself to this point, right? That's kind of what the results are. And that could be that you've never even thought about it before. And you're just kind of going through life like I was, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and the next best thing, and being a good person, and that's wonderful. But that's really as far as I thought about it. That's it. And so that got me to a certain point in my life. But this potential thing, which I absolutely love, and I believe that everyone has infinite potential. I honestly believe that. But I love that you get to design that. You get to decide the person you want to be, the person that, how much money you make.
The life you want to live. Yep.
Your career. Yeah. The life you want to live. And I was just listening to this, I don't even know what it was, podcast probably yesterday, with Jim Carrey. And he is literally one of the best at this. And he's really, and I think he's gotten better and better and better at it because he figured it out when he was young. And he, before he was anyone, a couple of things that he did that I loved. Like he would drive around LA when he just got there. And he said his dad really helped him with this because he said that his dad really believed in him 100%. So he believed in himself 100%. His dad believed in him 100%. And he would drive around and stop at different places in LA. This is when nobody knew him. And he was going to talk to the director of the film he was in. And no one even knew him.
Right.
He'd go up and, and play out this whole thing. And then he'd go and talk to the next director. And then he'd go, and he'd drive around and wave at people. And like he was somebody before nobody knew him. And the thing that I think is the coolest thing that he did was he wrote that check to himself for $10 million.
Yeah.
And then, and it's interesting. I never heard the rest of the story on that, but he carried that around with him forever. And then he found out he was doing a Dumb and Dumber. And then he got $10 million as a signing bonus or whatever it was for when he really very first did that.
Yeah.
So I love that. And then I loved that when his dad passed away, he put the check in the coffin with his dad, which I thought was super cool. Like kind of an ending, but also like a beautiful beginning of him like going on to the next level. And wait, I have to tell you one more thing because I love this. I think it has. So it's with Jim Carrey again. So in the show, he's talking to that girl, and there's that great.
I love
my gosh, that is like the best thing ever. But it goes to his potential because he's like, so what, you think that I have like a 1 in 100 chance with you or whatever? And she's like, yeah. She goes, yeah, no, like more like 1 in a million. And he goes, oh, good, I got a chance.
Yeah.
Right. It's just
it's how
like
I look
that.
at it.
Yeah, it's that mindset.
Yeah.
That he has the potential, like 1 in a million. Like everyone else would probably be like, oh,
still a chance. No. There's still a chance.
Like, you better believe there's a chance. So I love that. I just think that he's just become so great in doing this. And it's just because he's practiced it every day.
Yeah. And you hear that story from so many different people that are mega successful. So there's no secret to success. This absolutely works. But the sad part of all this, Cheryl, is that people don't understand what he's doing or not doing what he's doing because they don't take the time to do that potential story. That's what when we talk about potential story, everything you just said is what we're talking about. He wrote the check out for $10 million. That he said, I have the potential to make $10 million. And I'm feeling inside of me as if I'm already getting this check. And
he had it.
It's that vibration. Oh, he had it. Yeah, it was.
He had it in his wallet.
Yeah.
He had it in his wallet.
It's already given to him.
Yeah. And I do want to just mention one other thing here, Paul, that I think that for a lot of people, it can be scary to write your potential, the potential person that you could become, because I still fight with this too, is that like, what if I let myself down? What if it doesn't happen? And it's like, we've got to stop the what ifs. We've got to get it written down, and we've got to start living as if it's already happened.
So hold on to that thought, Cheryl, because we're going to get to that in a second. So what if it doesn't happen? So what is that? That's a thought, right?
Yeah, it's a thought.
So hang on.
Because of a belief.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because that's what we're tying into right now.
Okay. So
you have a belief that I'm not that good.
Yeah.
I'm not that good. I can't earn $10 million. So if that belief is there, the thought is going to come in and say, probably not going to happen.
Yeah. How could that happen? How could that happen? How could you
I don't believe it's possible.
Yeah. Like there's no way, like you're not even anybody.
Yeah. So the whole thing with this, how this has to work, is that we do believe that you need to know where you are currently, the truth. We have a starting point. We all help in our retreats. We help people come up with a life score in the beginning. So we want to know where you're at, the current story, the current results. But then we help you write this potential story and this potential character, who you could be and where your potential's at. And when you get so focused on that, so what Jim Carrey did is he got so entwined in that potential story of making that money that it actually changed his belief system from,
that's right,
I'm not good enough to make that, to, well, what do you mean I'm not good enough? I already have it.
Yeah.
I already have it. So of course I'm good enough to have it. So when you have that, like, I loved it because my whole life I've been keeping this gratitude journal, but I'm putting things in my gratitude journal about things that have happened. Well, I stopped doing that. Now my gratitude journal is about things that really haven't even happened yet, but I'm grateful for them already because they're coming to me. And when you can get grateful for things that are not even in your life yet, you've reached a whole new level in life.
Right. Do we want to, Paul, do we want to show them this circle thing? I don't know if anybody, I mean, I don't know if they
It's
want
in the notes. So you can just
Oh,
go to
it's in the notes.
elevateyourlife.com.
Okay.
It's in the notes. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. But yeah, elevateyourlife.com. All the notes that we're using for these podcasts are in there. So
okay.
You just go to, this is podcast 160, Cheryl. Making progress here.
Yeah.
And it is, this picture's there for you to print out, hang on your refrigerator. It's super, super important. So this belief, so let's just use the weight loss thing. So the results, I weigh 250. I'm overweight. Okay. We're not making it worse than it is or better than it is. It is what it is. Potential is the potential there for you to look amazing. Is the potential there for anyone to look amazing? Yes, it is. Is the potential there for anyone to build a super successful business? Yes, it is. Okay. But people have these beliefs that my DNA won't allow that. I mean, we have people tell us that, well, my doctor told me that I have to have carbohydrates. I have this special DNA inside of me that requires carbohydrates every single day.
So do I. That might be one of my favorite.
You got a dumbass doctor is what you got. Okay.
No, I was like, who's your doctor? I need to go.
Who's your doctor? Can I get him? Yeah, because I want to use that one for Paul.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a made-up belief. It's not true. You're not.
Yeah. I have a
slow metabolism. That's not
big
true. Yeah.
Big boned.
Yeah, all that,
That's my favorite.
And even if you're, let's just say your bone structure is a little bit larger than other people's, you can still lose weight.
Oh, you can
still mean you have to be 300 pounds the rest of your life.
Yeah, fit and strong and healthy.
But when we have these certain beliefs, like the Jim Carrey's, when he believed in himself, because he referred not to his current story, the current results, but his potential story. He focused on that so much that it reshaped his belief system in himself. I am capable. I can do this. I'm amazing. I'm the best actor in the whole world. He was saying these types of things to himself. Of course, I'm going to get the lead role in Dumb and Dumber. So from those beliefs that he had, it led to positive thoughts. Yeah. And we talk about thoughts, Cheryl. We talk about 65,000 thoughts a day in a person, 80% of them negative. Well, where are these negative thoughts coming from? So it's because no one's ever written the potential story. So they don't have the Jim Carrey check in their wallet. They're focusing on their current results. They got these beliefs based on those current results that are all limiting beliefs that I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I have this bad DNA, which is creating all these tens of thousands of negative thoughts a day. And to get to our point for our podcast today, those negative thoughts, believe it or not, cause negative emotions. Yeah. So negative thoughts cause negative emotions. Negative emotions cause poor action. Poor action causes more poor results.
So your emotions, you're saying, is your state.
Yes.
Okay. So the thoughts cause bad emotions, which puts you into a bad state, or it causes you to be into a bad state, which I really believe that. Like, I never realized the importance of state or your emotions. I never realized. And here's the thing I love about this, Paul, what I've been trying to do, and why I told my kids about the love, joy, and peace, is because I think that, especially when you start this out and you're just like, oh my gosh, first you're aware of it. Oh my land, this is amazing. And then you say, okay, well, I've got to stay in a good state. So you win the day by staying in the best state possible for as much of the day as possible. Right? Because we've talked about that before. You always have a home place where you go. That for me was anger. I would say anger, probably. Anger and frustration is where I would go all the time for my state. So now it's like, oh, I'm in a good state. I'm in a great state. And becoming aware of that, I think, allows you to take those actions that you need to take to get the results that you want to get.
Yeah. Yep. So working backwards, if you're upset with the weight you're at, your health score, your income, your relationships, your lifestyle, any of the 8 areas, the results you're getting in these 8 areas, It's obviously because you're not taking very good actions. And the reason why you're not taking very good actions is because the fuel that is like the gasoline in our car to make the car go is our emotional state. And that emotional state causes us to take certain action. If it's a bad emotional state, it's going to be bad actions. If it's a great emotional state, you're on top of the world, you feel awesome, boom, you're going to take massive action. You're going to take awesome actions. But the question is, where does this state come from? It comes from our thoughts. But where do our thoughts come from? It comes from our beliefs. And where do our beliefs come from? What story you are focusing on. Change your story, change your life. So if you can change your story and not focus on the story that's happening right now, but your potential story, like Jim Carrey did, your whole life changes, because now if you focus on that new story. Now, it took a little bit for Jim Carrey to focus on that story and reshape his beliefs. But once he was able to reshape those beliefs, he had way better thoughts. Way better thoughts are going to cause way better emotions, a way better state. And that way better state is going to cause way better actions. And those way better actions caused results that are unimaginable in his life. Well, they are imaginable because he imagined them. But for us, they're like, holy cow, he's like one of the most successful people ever.
Yeah, he became exactly who he said he would become when he wrote his potential story. That's who he became.
And do we think he reached his potential in life?
Yes. Well, no. Well, yeah, maybe, but I'm sure he doesn't think so, and he's still going.
You know, just I mean, we can all agree he's had massive success. He wasn't stuck in those current results because he was in a really bad situation when he wrote that.
Oh,
he didn't have a penny to rub together. There were two pennies to rub together.
Yeah.
Super, super good. So we did a couple podcasts in the past about different emotions to have. So as Cheryl mentioned, the love, joy, peace, that is spiritual emotions that we use at the top of this triangle here. Cheryl and I, we always lead with spirit. It's the most important part of our life. It's how we start our day. 5 a.m. It's get on your knees and pray. It's gratitude. You know, we do the priming every single morning. It's the gratitude journal. It's the praying. It's the getting yourself. I love 5 a.m. because you just can feel the peace in the air. There's no one else awake. Nothing else is going on. It's just peace. I love going outside actually in the morning when I can. It's not freezing out. And just feeling that, it's just so great. And then happy, happy to me and Cheryl means everything's good right now. It means the present moment. It's good. We're happy. But it doesn't mean we don't want more. And we live in that. Yeah, we mentioned gratitude and the hunger that we have. We want more. And we live with these emotion of certainty that we can make this happen. It comes from our belief system. We feel healthy and fit. We feel passionate about what we're doing. The love and warmth that we have inside of us, the curiosity on why people do what they do. That's what drives Cheryl and me. And then, of course, what really drives us and makes us feel like we are living our potential life is when we have this sense of contribution. And when we do these podcasts and have you join in and make a huge impact, even a small impact on your life, we feel like we're contributing to your life. And there's no better feeling in the world for Cheryl or I to have than that sense of contribution that we made a small difference in your life today by the information we shared in this podcast.
Yeah, I love that, Paul. And I really, I don't know, we want each of you, if you're listening to this podcast, we want each of you to feel these emotions too, because it really changes your life. And to really look at this, like, this is not easy, right? And that's okay, because it was never supposed to be easy, but it's fantastic. But to look at this and really think about where you're at now, the potential that you can become. I think that is so important, Paul. And we know that everyone has, again, infinite potential, and you can really design your life and be who you have always dreamed of being, right? Those dreams can come true. So, Paul, it's been so much fun today doing this podcast. It's been a pleasure spending all of our time with you guys today. Stay committed and stay consistent. And remember that you have the power to elevate your life and the lives of those around you. Can't wait to see you next time. Keep elevating.
Bye, everyone.